We're going to grow broccoli in a jar. A jar is not my favorite device to use, as the drainage is less good than other devices like our stainless steel tray or the Easy Sprout. But the economy being what it is, a lot of people have been ordering jars or just lids to go on jars they have, which we totally understand because we were completely destitute when we began as sprout people. So anybody who doesn't have money and is sprouting has got to go simple. So a jar, a screen lid is easy. You really want the stainless steel. Three tablespoons. Cleaning any dust off the seeds. Not strictly necessary. Just something for the obsessive sprout person like myself. You want to add 2 or more times as much water as seed. You can't put in too much water. And swirl it around so you get even water contact, and we'll let it sit there for 4 to 6 hours. This is really the key point here. Just pay attention to the draining and how we get the rest of the water out. Because this is really the key to getting broccoli to grow in anything, and it's heightened by the jar. And I'll show you how to do the best you can. Here's our water, and we're going to take this out. Add more fresh water. Add fresh water and swirl. And if you feel like it, repeat it once more. Cool water. This is the key. Use a bowl. A bowl is perfect for a jar to keep it at an angle so that the water can continue to run out some. And what I'm going to do is come back to this in an hour and just see how much water dripped into the bowl and if I can get more out of there, because it's that water that will keep your seeds from sprouting. Even a teaspoon of water left behind, if you leave your jar sitting on its base, will drown a number of small seeds like broccoli. And if they can't breathe, if they're underwater, even that tiny bit of water, imagine yourself to be as big as a broccoli seed and think of how much a teaspoon is. That won't sprout. So we need to get the water out to sprout them. This is why we drain thoroughly after every rinse, or as one of our great customers says, drain maniacally. Get the water out. The seeds will germinate, and as they grow, it's less demanding to drain them because it's harder to drown them as they get bigger. So there you go. Put the jar into a bowl so it's on a downward angle. Do drain thoroughly. Don't think that the jar upside down in the bowl will compensate for mediocre draining, because even a jar with a screen still has enough surface area where water can collect and the seeds that sit there won't sprout. They just can't sprout underwater. So do a thorough draining, then do the jar in the bowl. Okay, we're checking back. Let's take a look and see what we find. Go look at that in a second. Look at that. That's terrible. More than a teaspoon. All right, it's 8 hours later. I stayed up late to make it 8 hours. And let's take a look at our sprouts. Got condensation on the bottle, which is fine and expected. And let's see, we have no water in there. Really, it's dry. It's actually dry. So it's just a matter of rinsing. Cool water. Some water in the jar. Do as much as you want. This is plenty for their needs. Twice as plenty. Just a gentle rinse, gentle spin. Everybody gets fresh water. Focus your energy here. Drain thoroughly. This is glass, so you can't go that fast, but I do whatever I can. I'm just holding my finger against the bottom. It helps draw water to that point. No actual science background. Just happens. Tell me why. I love to learn. Okay. Oh, God. Look at that, I popped my screen in. Well, here's something added then. Easily remedied situation. I'm turning it upside down just because the shape is better then. But there we go. Back in business. There we go. I drained especially hard this time because I'm going to sleep now, so I won't be back in an hour to check. And what a bonus. We got to see what happens when you press the screen too hard. So there you go. I don't grow in jars. I don't grow leafy sprouts and brassica sprouts in jars at this time in my life. I use the stainless steel sprouter that we offer or the easy sprout. But like I said at first, I'm doing this for you because those of you who need to do this in jars just need to do it well. It's certainly possible, so we want you to get the best crop you can. And that's it. So good night. We'll see you in 8 to 12 hours. Nothing. Fermentation is beginning. Very nice. Cool water. Not pushing as hard today. So I've drained thoroughly, but it is daytime and I'm going to be in the kitchen quite a bit today. It's Sunday, so I'm cooking. So I'll check back on them in an hour or so. I probably won't show you that, but I'll try to report on it later. I drained thoroughly enough, so I doubt there's going to be anything there. But that's where we are. Let's take a look. Lots of germination. See all the little sprouts? Right. And no water, nothing. Excellent. All right, rinsing. Okay, I'm gonna call that good. All right, we're back. Look at all that germination. Okay, and again, no water left behind. Okay, that's good. So we will take our jar to the sink. see how much more of the crop there is than there was originally. It's more than a third of the jar. What appears to be mold to many is actually root hairs, microscopic roots that grow perpendicular to the taproot, the sprout. And they grow so close together that they are fuzzy, but you only see them right before you rinse, and when you rinse, you knock them down against the taproot again. I'm impressed that the roots grew out the top so much. Totally fine, we're going to rinse them and they're going to go back down. See some of the hulls separating here. Oh, look, there's a stray sprout. Delicious. Oh, these did go down. There's a couple in there. We'll get at some of these hulls and I'll show you how tomorrow at some point, I think. And now we're just draining again, being thorough. All these holes that just separated. Some of them could be. I can feel the water come out on my hand well with this method. Look at that. Okay, we're going to say that's fine. And again, oh, look, there's a few drops in there. Yeah, literally a few drops. So we'll put these back in here. And we'll see them tomorrow. Here we are the next morning, 12 hours later, a little bit less really. And we've got a nice growing jar of broccoli sprouts. Now, if you're using just this lid, this is fine. You can just continue going with this lid. I'm going to show you something that is gained by using our 3-lid set. So if you have a coarser lid, you can switch to that now, and it will allow some holes to escape, which is really nice. So let's see that in action. Okay, here we go. Here's our jar. Take our lid off. Knock the sprouts out. Ooh, worked. And the other lid, get a couple in the ring. Let's just put in this wider lid, or you can use a different ring as well, doesn't matter. And let's see what we get. See, some holes are escaping out the top into the sink. Lots of holes. See all the holes?
resistance. By shaking like this, I'm trying to get the holes to float to the top. And you can see they do that. So I don't expect to get them all out, but I might. I will get quite a number out. Not all. Repeat this a little bit. One more time. Already there's still a group down here. Tough to get everybody, but much better. Pouring some through. That didn't really do anything. Try floating them again. Top again. Good with that.
We'll get more hulls later. I don't usually sweat that so much. I don't spend so much time fussing over it, but I have fun when I'm growing, so I was just playing with it. Like I told you, I don't usually grow. I never grow broccoli in jars, but this is what happens when I do. So you don't have to do that. You can get the hulls out later, but I'm just doing that while we rinse and drain. So we'll see them again in 12 hours. They're looking great, and it's a sunny day, so they'll actually be greener when we see them next. Yeah.
Get some more holes out. We see them coming off the top, I hope. You can get quite a lot of holes that way, but there's still some trapped in the bottom, and there's some along the way. We'll try again tomorrow. Just give them their nice shake. See how much greener they are as well, just from ambient light. Getting some more holes. No. There's still quite a few over here. See how we do tomorrow. That drained. More holes, and we'll put it back here. Let's take a look. See, looks like I've got quite a bit of water again. Wow, look at that. As I said before, the bigger the sprouts grow, the less consequential the water. But just remember that early maniacal draining, because that's really your key to success. And here are our sprouts, happy as can be. We're going to just rinse them. It's time to get to work, so don't have a lot of time to play around. Few holes wanted out, so pretty solid mass now. Not a lot of give in there. Just swirl gently back and forth so everybody cools down. Sprouts generate quite a lot of heat when they're growing. It's cool this time of year. I'm growing these in February. Started in late January. So their heat generation shows you. You see the condensation when we come back to them after 8 to 12 hours. That's just because they're hot and the exterior environment is less warm than they are. Hey, it'll happen. Holes. Just collecting holes. Okay, I'm gonna call that drained. Oh, there's more.
Harvest time would be sometime in the afternoon tomorrow, and it's night. So this will be the last rinse, and what we're going to do is dehull now. So if you got a sprouting jar kit, or in whatever case you only have the regular mesh screen, maybe you got it from somewhere else, you have a different kind of screen, unless you have the coarse mesh screen that I showed you earlier on, we'd want to dehull. With the coarse mesh screen, you can actually just rinse and take the hulls out that are in here and call it good. Like I said before, if you're going to eat them in 4 days, you're fine with a few hulls. Even with a lot of hulls, 3 days, no problem. Texturally, it's completely up to you. We ate hulls for years before we even considered dehulling crops. It was mostly about shelf stability of our grown sprouts. That is why we started dehulling. But it's a very confused story because, yes, the leafy sprouts dehulled naturally because of the way we grew them. So, okay. Editing myself is sheer misery. You have no idea. I think I like to talk, and then I have to listen to myself and look at myself and edit it to make sense for you, and it is not easy.
So let's see how we can get these out. We can tap like this, loosen them up. We can pull gently. And do that some more and get more out. We could use a fork for that matter and pull them out. The goal is to just get them in the bowl. So there.
When dehulling, it's good to have a large container so that you can free the sprouts from the hulls. As you saw in the jar, when we were doing this last night, was it? And this morning, or whenever we were doing it, as the sprouts grew, it was harder to get the hulls to float up to the top. So now we're giving them the ability to float up by giving them more space to separate. This is not, I would normally use a bigger bowl in this, but it is also handy to have a smaller bowl just for control. And since there aren't many hulls in here, I'm using this bowl. Okay. It's a good size bowl. I should know what it is. I grew up with that bowl. It's something I got from my mom.
Okay, so we're going to fill them with water. I'm using my filtered water now, don't ask me why. Start with clean hands. I just washed the dishes, so I know my hands are clean. Then just loosen the sprouts. A bunch just flew right out of there. And so you can see here that the hulls, I'm moving them around to separate the hulls, and the hulls come to the top. You can see them gathering on the edge. And my preference, I've dehulled, I don't know how many hundreds or thousands of pounds of broccoli sprouts. How did we grow 10, 50, thousands? In a much bigger thing than this, but so I just moved the hulls over to the side and I just scoop them out. So this is actually all hulls. Now I will, for the sake of argument, I'm going to put them in my bowl that I used. I'm going to put them into my compost, actually, but I'm fortunate to have compost. This city, for all its current degradation, has great compost and stuff, recycling, of course. So here we go. That you can be as fussy as you want. That's quite a lot of hulls. There's really nothing left. I am a fussy person, so I try to get every hull. It's silly. You could take these and put them into a colander or a big strainer. Something like this would be nice. You know, something that will hold them if you have something like that. And you could, they would dry really well in that. But we're going to, for the folks who have nothing but a jar, that's okay. This is what we're going to do. So I'm going to just rinse the jar out. I'm not going to wash it because I'm putting the sprouts back in. And then I'm going to transfer these sprouts that are hulled back in. Let's see how that goes. You can't really see what I'm doing because I'm in the way of the camera, but I'm just picking up small amounts. The thing is, there's some more hulls in the bottom of this, so I don't want to disturb the water in the bottom. Feel free to eat anybody who's getting away. I do. I was just harvesting another crop, sunflower greens, and I filled up on those. But I'll have room for some broccoli too. Using very little force to push these back in. This is actually a great time to eat your first sprouts because you'll make more room, which will create more air circulation, which will dry out the rest of the crop better. So really, if you ate like a quarter of this, that would be great. Okay, here we go. This is where it's a problem for me and my fussiness. I personally have grown over 150 tons of sprouts, and I've supervised over 50 tons more. I kid you not. And we grew them all by hand. I'm certifiable. And I fuss like you've seen, and I want every seed to fulfill its destiny. So though I have learned to let seeds go, some go down the drain in different ways,
during different processes of sprouting, I save an incredible number of seeds from just ending up in compost. So this is just me doing my thing. You do not have to do this stuff. You don't have to be this fine about it, okay? Just, you've looked at the website. It's this grandiose because I'm this like verbose or whatever the heck it is. Verbose, yeah, let's call it that. Instead of something less good. And let's see, so I have many tools. This is a good tool, actually, so I'm going to use this little strainer just to speed this process up. And I'm not sure if you can see that there are some sprouts down on the bottom of the bowl as well. And there are holes down there. So I'm just going to set this out of the way. Look at this beautiful jar of clean sprouts. Just hulled. Lovely. Okay, here's some holes. We'll take those out. Now, let's see. There's holes are going to come off first, and then a few sprouts, which I'm going to live with. But then when I get a few holes behind, but I'm going to actually see if I can't get the ones off the bottom without getting too many holes in there. I think I'll just eat these so as not to. Okay, that's pretty good. So there's a few left, but I rescued that many. I'll just eat these. I think they're great, and they're incredibly mild. I'll keep chewing. This is my chance to reiterate that there is no better way to take in nutrition than by chewing. The mastication of food in your mouth, long chewing, mixing with your saliva, creates more bioavailability because of the enzymes in your saliva breaking down the food. So this is why we always say it's best to just chew your food. That's really that. And about broccoli sprouts, these are mild, cabbagey tasting sprouts. To me, taste is a phenomenally subjective thing. We used to have people come to our farmer's market stand, and I swear to God, I watched more than once 2 people trying pea sprouts. Peas were popular. The kids liked them too. So we'd see little kids eating them, but we'd have one person standing there going, "Oh, so sweet," while the other person's cringing on, "Oh, that's bitter." Same pea. I mean, not the same pea literally, but the same peas. So some people will tell you that these are spicy. These are not spicy. A radish tastes like a radish, and that is spicy to me. But this is not. To me, these are like cabbagey. With me, the tiniest heat aftertaste. But you might find them spicy. I actually had somebody just write today who said that they just grew their first crop, how happy they were, and they were spicier than they thought, and they really liked them. It's your taste buds. I can't tell you anything about it. I find these cabbagey. But all my competition that I've tested seed from, because I'm always curious to know what other people's broccoli seed tastes like, is so spicy that it's like nutty. And even, let's see, some people equate the spice to the antioxidant content, but we know that not to be true because we have had mild sprouts test at 50 times plus the sulforaphane content of mature broccoli. So we know it has nothing to do with the spice. So get your seeds where you do, just grow them. That's always the thing, just keep on sprouting. Our seeds are truly exceptional because I'm like nuts for seeds. But anyway, just keep sprouting. So let's finish the dehulling cleanup. So now we're just screwing our lid back on. We'll do the draining because we did just, yeah, see there's plenty of water in there because we just pulled them out of a water bath.
We want to get as much water out as possible, of course. So these are going to sit for 12 hours or thereabouts. And there's no more rinsing. That's it. From now on, it's all about drying. We'd like them to be dry to the touch when they go in the refrigerator. I feel like that is a nice dry jar. And I'm just going to put it in the bowl. There's our crop. Some green leaves, some yellow. Those that were in the middle have yellow leaves because they didn't get any photosynthesis, and that's okay. Chlorophyll's great, but not everything has to have it. Just eat them and enjoy them. And good health to you. It's a great way to grow broccoli in a jar. Look, it can be done. Really, it's just stay diligent on your draining and go back and check, especially the first few days. And don't push too hard on that screen like I did when I popped it through. Do you remember that? It's probably like 30 minutes ago now. Who would remember? Anyway, thanks a lot for taking in this incredibly long video, no doubt, but at least we're thorough. Always my goal. So we make these for new people. I want people who know how to grow to be able to watch them too, but I know it's got to drive you crazy. But if you're new, you got to learn. We all have to go through this, don't we? Yes, we do. Happy sprouting. Grow to live, live to grow.